talking to all the analysts and the pundits and the reporters and everybody else in between out there. You don't get to dictate for the paying audience what they like and what they dislike. I could make the argument that the fact that this stuff has been politicized, because it clearly has been, and people are forced to take sides, is something that's working to the benefit of the WNBA, because we're talking about the WNBA more than we ever have.
That's a good point. We are talking about the league more than we ever have. Is this a case of all publicity is good publicity? Also, to Stephen A's earlier point,
if you thought the WNBA had already reached its lowest point, prepare yourself, because the latest developments have taken the drama to an entirely different level. What reportedly happened on national television this morning has sent social media into a frenzy and sparked intense discussion across the world of professional women's basketball. This is no longer being framed as a simple locker room disagreement or controversial foul. Instead, rumors are pointing toward a much deeper conflict involving some of the league's biggest names. For the past 48 hours, speculation has been growing about an alleged emergency meeting involving WNBA team owners, with fans demanding to know what was discussed behind closed doors. Then StephenASmith appeared on First Take and reportedly addressed the controversy in explosive fashion, sending the basketball world into another wave of debate. At the center of the discussion is Sophie Cunningham, one of the league's most recognizable and outspoken players. Rumors are now circulating that Cunningham could face serious disciplinary action, including claims of a potential ban from the WNBA. However, these claims remain allegations and should not be treated as confirmed without official statements or reliable evidence. The situation has also fueled speculation surrounding WNBA leadership and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, with some online narratives suggesting that the league is struggling to contain the fallout. Whether those claims are accurate or simply exaggerated social media speculation, one thing is undeniable: the controversy has captured enormous attention. Today we're breaking down the claims, the reactions, and the alleged developments that have pushed this story into the spotlight.
I don't believe Sophie Cunningham will be with the Fever next year. I said this before. I didn't think she was going to be there this year because of the bad press. Now, everything that Sophie Cunningham did this year put the Indiana Fever and the entire league on notice. I'm sticking by it. I think they're going to try to Colin Kaepernick her, bro. I really do. It goes on to say the 30-year-old guard who joined the Fever in 2025 after 6 years with the Phoenix Mercury signed a one-year deal for 2026 that ends soon, fueling speculation about her exit. Her summer ESPN comments wanting to protect young girls from competing against biological men, which she called common sense, drew cheers from spectators and boos at games. Backers highlights her three-point shooting, enforcer style, and broad apparel, arguing the WNBA needs her more than she needs it amid rumors tied to her views. Yes, Sophie Cunningham, whether they like this or not, the pub that Sophie...
To understand this explosive situation, we have to start with the man who allegedly decided to speak out, StephenASmith. For weeks, Smith had appeared to be walking a complicated and increasingly uncomfortable line. As the public feud between former NBA player Enes Kanter and the WNBA continued, Smith seemed to acknowledge criticism of the league while also maintaining relationships with WNBA executives. Kanter had been challenging what he described as double standards within the league, questioning decisions made by its leadership and demanding greater accountability. Smith appeared to take a more diplomatic approach, attempting to balance criticism with his connections to people inside the organization. But according to the narrative surrounding this controversy, that balancing act eventually collapsed. An alleged internal audio memo was reportedly delivered to Smith's production team, supposedly revealing discussions about potential disciplinary action involving Sophie Cunningham. After hearing the alleged recording, Smith's attitude reportedly changed dramatically. During his broadcast, viewers interpreted his reaction as anger and frustration, fueling speculation that he had decided he could no longer remain neutral. He allegedly went on an intense rant criticizing the WNBA's leadership and challenging the league's public image of unity. But what exactly put Sophie Cunningham at the center of the controversy? According to the claims circulating online, Cunningham's biggest mistake was allegedly speaking too openly about issues surrounding the league. She was portrayed as someone willing to challenge established narratives rather than simply accepting them. The accusations include claims that she criticized financial decisions, questioned officiating standards, and supported arguments made by Kanter about accountability within women's basketball. However, it is important to separate allegations from verified facts, because claims about secret recordings, coordinated punishment, or a league-wide conspiracy require credible evidence before they can be treated as reality. Still, the online narrative has turned Cunningham into a symbol of resistance for some fans. Supporters see her as an outspoken player willing to challenge authority, while critics view the situation differently. Either way, the controversy has created a major conversation about power, player voices, league leadership, and how much freedom athletes should have to criticize the organizations they represent.
T-shirts during overtime and told us we had to leave.
And this is for the girl.
Or cover our shirts. This just happened.
It's crazy, right? It's totally crazy. That's the mother and daughter team that just the other day were kicked out of the game in Atlanta. It turns out they paid like $1,000 for their tickets, which everybody was like, oh my God, $1,000 for a WNBA ticket? Like that in and of itself is shocking. And then they get kicked out because they're wearing XX and XY. Just like Cantor was kicked out of the game last night because he was wearing a woman and what she is, the definition of a woman. And it's so funny to me. It's so weird that this is becoming such a big thing. Like, honestly, you really have to make that big a deal of it? Apparently they do. There is a school of thought there that is like uber progressive and uber crazy in the athletic world and embodied by so many of these people that are in the WNBA. And they don't like what Sophie represents for a whole lot of reasons, right? Same thing with Caitlin Clark. You know the drill on that. And then you get, the Megan Rapinoe's of the world even, that it feels so inclined to weigh in on this too. Like, Megan, really? Didn't you play like a bunch of 15-year-old boys and they whipped your you-know-what pretty darn fast? Like, you can't play against men, Megan. Like, what are you thinking?
According to the alleged documents reportedly referenced by StephenASmith on live television, a group of powerful WNBA owners supposedly held an emergency off-the-books conference call. The claim was that their goal went far beyond a short suspension for Sophie Cunningham. They allegedly discussed finding a legal way to remove her from the league, potentially affecting her contract and endorsements as well. The accusations painted the situation as an attempt to send a warning to other players who might speak out. Smith reportedly reacted furiously, arguing that league executives should not be able to punish a player simply for expressing her opinions. He described the alleged actions as an attack on free expression within professional basketball. The controversy quickly intensified, raising another major question. If these allegations were serious, how would WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert respond?
Wake up and say, I'm a female and I want to participate in the NBA according to the letter of the language of the law. You can actually get away with it. And that needs to be clarified. Clearly, that's a political position to take. And I think on one hand, Enos Cantor was very wrong. It was a classless thing for him to do.
Well, I don't even think it's a political issue. That's the craziest part. It's not a political issue. It's a common sense issue. The WNBA, they maybe have turned it into a political issue because they refuse to use basic logic and anatomy. But it's not really a political issue. Or it shouldn't at least be a political issue. Maybe that's a better way to put it. It shouldn't be a political issue because it's common sense, but it's a political issue because those who are delusional have been catered to for far too long. To now they're believing their own delusions, and common sense needs to step in every now and then and just smack you over the head.
Because it's not, the ladies that are playing don't have anything to do with this. The league does. Its collective bargaining agreement may be the case. The liberal tilt that it has might be a cause or a cause effect to some degree. I get all of that, but the actual ladies that are involved, they have nothing to do with this, and they don't deserve to be agitated the way he clearly was willing to do in attendance at the game. It wasn't just about him standing, but he was just about to step to her. You got no business doing that.
He was just about to step to her. You don't believe that, Stephen A, do you? You don't believe that, Stephen A. She ran across the entire court. She went from one side of the court to the other side of the court to get into his face. You don't believe he was going to step on the court, do you?
When StephenASmith reportedly aired the allegations, the fan reaction was immediate and intense. Social media erupted with calls for boycotts, while speculation grew about sponsors becoming increasingly concerned. The pressure surrounding the league appeared to reach another level. According to the circulating reports, Cathy Engelbert was allegedly frustrated by the situation and concerned about the actions being attributed to certain team owners. Rumors then claimed that Engelbert confronted the league's board of governors during a heated meeting and expressed serious dissatisfaction with how the situation was being handled. Some reports even suggested she threatened to step away rather than become the public face of the controversy. However, these claims remain unverified, and no official confirmation has established that Engelbert resigned or walked away.
She she sprints down across the other side of the court, barking at him, losing her mind. She needs a sedative.
deserve that. Not the ladies actually playing. They don't deserve that. And all of us, as American citizens, as human beings, find ourselves caught up in a political system that has purview and dominion over us as citizens of a society. If anybody knows that, it's Edith Cantor Freedom, because of his history with Turkey.
So you think he'd understand the importance of speaking out, huh, Stephen A, right? Right, Stephen A? You'd think he'd understand the importance of going through this whole entire song and dance so we don't get to a level that he thinks that we could possibly get to. You think he'd understand that, wouldn't you, Stephen A, right? You'd say he's an expert in this, has some experience, been down this road before, understands the song and dance. Gotcha.
That's where he's from. That's where his family is from. This man was in fear of his life. I interviewed him. I heard his story. And the courage that he showed in speaking out against the Turkish government, against China, and putting himself in that lion's den. Because of his past political history, he should be applauded. Not to mention the fact that taking a political position is consistent with who he has been. Perfectly understandable. Got it.
Oh, so this is nothing new, you're saying? So your issue is just that it happened in the WNBA? What exactly is your issue, Stephen A? Like, you're doing a lot of complaining right now, but what exactly is your issue? The fact that he showed up to the game? Is that your issue? The fact that he was wearing a t-shirt, is that the problem? You want him to take his shirt off, Stephen A? What's your problem?
Let that sink in. According to the claims circulating online, the WNBA commissioner supposedly stepped away during the season because the alleged corruption, internal conflict, and controversy had become too overwhelming to manage. If that were true, it would leave the league facing a serious leadership crisis and create an unprecedented power vacuum. But this story goes beyond basketball. It becomes a much larger discussion about accountability, player empowerment, and the relationship between athletes and league leadership. For years, the WNBA has promoted messages of empowerment, equality, and protecting its players. Yet critics now argue that those principles are being questioned by the controversy surrounding Sophie Cunningham. StephenASmith's alleged decision to speak openly about the situation has only intensified the debate, while Enes Kanter's previous criticism of the league has received renewed attention. Cunningham, meanwhile, is reportedly at the center of the storm as fans debate whether she could face serious consequences. However, claims about secret owner meetings, contract termination, or a commissioner resigning have not been officially confirmed. The situation therefore remains surrounded by speculation rather than established facts. If the league were to take severe action against Cunningham, it could trigger a major backlash from supporters. But if the allegations prove unfounded, the controversy could still damage trust between fans, players, and league leadership. Either way, the pressure is building, and everyone is watching to see what happens next.
Left-wing media and WNBA sources are now saying Sophie Cunningham might be released from her team at the end of the season. Her future is suddenly in doubt. Interesting. Does anyone seriously doubt this isn't because of her supporting women's sports? Now, this is the scene that has been happening at a lot of these games. Let's watch. So as you guys can see here, this is the Indiana Fever, man. Look at Caitlin. Caitlin did this. This was at the Atlanta Dream game. Caitlin did this before. She didn't have her hand on her heart. Now, I'm not saying now I'm going to sit here and nitpick Caitlin for her political views, but this looks spooky, CC. This looks spooky. Goes on to say sources within WNBA are now saying the league plans to release Sophie Cunningham in the offseason as effectively banish her from playing in the WNBA ever again. What did I tell y'all? They finna Colin Kaepernick Sophie. I knew it. Ain't no team gonna sign her. So I believe the Fever are going to release her. No doubt about it. Here's the thing. I don't believe another team is going to sign Sophie, guys. I really don't. And I believe she's going to be the new Colin Kaepernick, bro. Something 80% of Americans agree. If the WNBA engages in the obvious form of discrimination, then the Department of Justice will be forced to step in. Yes, intervene. This is going to turn into a very, very bad situation. This might be the biggest story of the WNBA.
The WNBA controversy is reaching another level, and fans are demanding answers. Now I want to hear from every one of you in the comments. Do you believe the allegations surrounding Sophie Cunningham deserve serious investigation? Do you think WNBA owners have handled the situation properly, or has the league created unnecessary controversy? And what do you make of StephenASmith's reported involvement? Share your opinion below and let everyone know where you stand. If you want more coverage of the biggest WNBA stories and the latest developments, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Stay tuned, because this story could take another dramatic turn at any moment.